splendors of creation. Beasts of air, water, earth, and steel. It is one thing to hunt a beast, another to hunt a machine.
This is Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that's been out on the PlayStation 4 for about over a year now. It is definitely one of the best exclusives on the PlayStation. It's a story set in a post-apocalyptic world in the US, where there's been an obvious regression of humanity, but with a few twists. So not only is it sort of very much in the almost primitive sort of stage of technology, but as we can see here, there's remnants of the old world. This part is actually at the beginning of the story, the proving. You get to see a little bit of the environment, a little bit of the graphics power of the PlayStation 4.
Can't let them beat me now.
A good combination of live graphics and cutscenes. And as I said, a really good way to start the ball rolling. And what an adventure and what a world it is. So the main character, Aloy, is really in an adventure to save the world as much as an adventure to find out who she is. So she, I guess, inhabits this vast world with beautiful environments spanning a whole range of different biomes. It's a fairly big open world structure, one that you can walk through or ride almost without end, obviously with end. We get to see some of the gameplay here, which is involves a little bit of quite a bit of scaling, climbing, jumping tests. To be honest though, it's fairly predictable. I'm not a big fan of the obvious sort of climb points that are clearly marked. Also, there's not many alternative paths in a lot of these areas, so it's almost not quite repetitive, not quite straightforward, but close. But that gives you all the more time to enjoy the environments. And also, to be honest, these periods of climbing are generally the pauses or the calm before the storm. So Aloy is out on an adventure to find out what is the truth of Horizon Zero Dawn. You start off with very little information, but as you go through the world, you discover opportunities for learning things about the world and also about its history, and also about her history. Not all of the robots that inhabit this post-apocalyptic world are dangerous, but most are. Some you can use just to gain information about the map, which can then in turn allow you to find locations for gaining skills. But for the most part, the robots, the dinosaurs, are there for one thing, for combat. And the combat, when it gets started, can get fairly frenetic. In this case, you've got a range of different weapons, both spears, bows, but also special technology inserts, such as shock weapons, freeze weapons, fire weapons. Each of the robots has a different range of strengths and weaknesses. For example, here we've got some red-eye watchers combined with some stalkers. So these are robots that are particularly nasty, that can turn invisible, but are fairly weak against shock. So avoiding the watchers while using the shock bombs is a good way of defeating them. Alloy has one trick up her sleeve, and that's the focus vision, which allows her to identify the robot's weaknesses and their strengths, as well as to identify secret areas within the map. So this here is a Thunderjaw, one of the most difficult of the robots within Horizon Zero Dawn. This little encounter sort of highlights a couple of things, just how strong some of these creatures can be. The Thunderjaws has a vast array of different weapon types on board. However, they're susceptible to tear weapons, which allow you to strip the weapon systems off of the robots. It also highlighted one other thing, and that's exactly what I've done here. I've torn off the disc launcher from the Thunderjaw itself, which I can then use against it. So which makes for some interesting tactical decisions as to whether or not to engage and to approach just to secure the ranged weapons of the robots, or whether to keep a distance in relative safety. That's most probably one of my biggest complaints about Horizon Zero Dawn, is the ability to basically game the system, to use the AI of the robots against them. So they're very much restricted to the areas that they can traverse. So that means you can just stand off relatively safely and just plug away. So it's a little bit grindy in that sense. If you are in areas where you're constrained or there's lack of cover, the robots can be particularly devastating, and the AI very good. Here though, that's most probably the weakest point. The other thing that's really frustrating is that after destroying these Thunderjaws, and there's two here that I destroyed, within most probably 12 hours of game time, of in-game time, they will have respawned. And that becomes really irritating, that after you've fought a huge battle and then you're going to have to do it all again, potentially. The other thing that's a little bit painful is the grind of resource management, having to collect all of the goods for managing resources in game, so building weapons, modifications, things like that. It's fairly easy, but it can be a grind. At the end of the day though, Horizon Zero Dawn is it's an amazing game. It is really a window into a future past world. Lots of great things about it. The story is fantastic. There are a few cons, and the respawning robots most probably are the biggest one, the most annoying one for me. So overall, definitely a game that's worth playing. Even though it's a little bit older, it's still very much a PlayStation 4 classic. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed